Okay, so a number of you have a couple of rooms, right, that have ceiling fans like this one, and also this 5-bladed fan over here, like this one. Okay, so these are very interesting fan subjects, so I'm going to try to show you a quick way to model these fans in Maya. So let me just reset the scene. Right, so first let's look at the source images folder. That's where I save my reference images. Assignment 1, source images folder, and this particular fan over here. So this one is a light fan. So it has a light attached at the center and the fan blades on top. Okay, so we will first create the light. Alright, the light, right, we can just use a cylinder. We're going to use a 12-sided cylinder. We don't really need it to be that much because we're going to subdivide this later on. And then I'm going to select the center vertices. Select the center vertex first. Shift select the center vertex. Hold on to Control right mouse click to faces because we're going to delete them. Then I'm going to cover the top edges by double clicking and selecting the edges. And then shift right mouse click and then fill hole. So both sides are filled. Then I can go and apply a bevel. Bevel the edge, give it 2 segments and reduce the fraction until it looks something like this. Alright, then I will select these 2 faces. Right, use scale and holding down the shift, right, we can extrude it inwards. Okay, but I want to extrude it along the Z and X axis like that. So I'm going to extrude a couple of segments. Okay, and then one more time, just scale it inwards. Okay, select this face, holding down to shift and then scale it inwards. We know that by holding down the shift, we will extrude it. So then select all the vertices and make it flat. And then if I press number 3, it should look like the lamp that we want. And then the lamp right at the bottom is bulging out a little bit. So I'm going to select the bottom face, shift full stop the increase selection, and then pull it down slightly. So we have this lamp shape. Now, I don't like this multi-sided face. So I can either connect the vertices until they become 4-sided, or I will just extrude another face, scale it in, and then collapse them together. Shift right mouse click, merge faces together until it looks like that. Alright, so I created the lamp section of this fan here. Next, we want to create the blades. Now I'm going to repeat to use this cylinder here because it has perfectly just nice 12 sides. 12 sides, right, to create a 3-sided fan blade. So I'm going to duplicate this piece. And then I'm going to scale it down and flatten it. So this is where my fan blade will come out from. So I'm going to go to one side. Okay, just nice, we have four of the faces, right, pointing in the x-axis. So we can select these faces over here, and then these faces will form our fan blade. I'm going to press 1 to go to level 1. And then holding down the shift and extrude out one fan blade. And then use R to scale and flatten one section first, like that, using the x-axis. Okay? And then we can taper it down like this. Alright, then press W again to move. Extrude out another section. As we're extruding out, I also want to rotate it outwards like that, because the fan, right, has a twisted blade section like this. Now with the faces still selected, use to move, extrude out another section, and then this time, hold on to Control Shift and change your pivot point to component, so that we can use the scale, right, for component scale, Control Shift, and then scale it up like that, in this axis, like this. Okay, press W to move again, and then holding down the shift and extrude. And then if you want, you can also rotate it up a little bit more. And then use the scale to scale it out a little bit more. Right, then we're going to do the final section of the blade. Hold down the shift and extrude. Then scale it inwards. And then also rotate it downwards slightly so that it has a nice propeller shape like this. Okay, this one I need to twist this section a little bit more like that, yeah. Then finally, select these last bits of faces and extrude a small section and then scale it inwards like that. Alright, so if I press number 3, it will look like a single fan blade. And then if you don't like the width of the fan blade, you can go to vertex mode. Alright, and then scale it up. I'm gonna switch over to component. Okay, it's not following the component scale, that's fine. I'll just scale it up like that here. Same for this one as well. So if you want your fan blade to look a little bit more aerodynamic, just like an aircraft propeller blade, then we need to reshape this a bit. Okay, for me, I'm very particular about this. Okay, if you understand physics, or if you look at your fan right at home, you'll notice that it has a certain shape, right? So I'm going to grab these vertices. I'm going to switch my orientation this time to the world axis for move. Control Shift and switch to the world axis so that I can move it up like that. Then same for these vertices over here. Push it out like that. Then this one on a trailing edge, you can pull it down like that. So you can see that my fan right has this nice aerodynamic shape. Okay, so now it looks like a airplane propeller blade. So that is the shape that I want. Okay, so you can refine it further. Some of you want to make your fan blade looks really nice, like those professional fan blades. You can select the trailing edge, which is the last edge over here. Then use the scale to make it really, really thin. Okay? Alright, so I got one blade done already. I think I'm satisfied with this. I like this blade. So next is I need to duplicate this blade 3 times, or actually duplicate it 2 times to fill in the gap. So if I go to level 1, I can delete away these faces, these 4 faces, and these 4 faces as well, altogether 8 faces. Just press delete, get rid of it. Okay, because we're going to select the fan blade, all the faces that make up the fan blade over here that is extruded out, and we're going to detach it, right? And right now it's still being selected, so that's good. So I will use the detach to new object, duplicate and detach to new object right over here. So right now I should have a brand new blade that is being detached, which is this one, okay, in the outliner. Now if I press W to move, you notice the pivot point is right at the center here, which is excellent because I can use rotate. Then holding down to J, I'll rotate 120 degrees so that you will form the second blade. And remember, this is a 3-bladed fan. Then holding down the shift while the rotate is on, and holding down the shift and J, we can rotate and clone another blade. So now it's 240 degrees, okay, for the secondary blade. And now we just need to select all the 3 pieces and mesh combine them together. Alright, so we have our fan blade. Then we go and merge them together. Go over to vertex, okay, select all the vertices in the center, especially the newly duplicated ones. Okay, make sure you select the vertices that are touching each other, then shift right mouse click, merge and merge. Alright, the reason why we need to do the merge is simple. Otherwise, right, there'll be a gap over here. So if I press number 3 now, there shouldn't be any visible gap, and we should have our nice fan blade beautifully created for us. Next, we just need to select the center pole here and extrude out the face. Okay, shift, extrude one small section, shift, extrude another section, and shift, extrude the final section on top, and one more section, and then delete away the face because this is going to be plugged to the ceiling, or it's going to be plugged into a. Okay, let me insert a couple of edge loops here. So if you look at the picture, right, it has this cone shape here. We can create this cone shape, or you can create a separate cone shape to attach it to the ceiling. For example, here I will just scale this up slightly. Shift full stop to increase the face selection, and then scale it up again. Okay, we can actually detach this so that you can plug this into a hole above. Right, but that's, the fan is now done. So the bottom one, this one will be the light, so I'll call this the light. And then this structure here is the fan. Delete history, Alt-Shift-D, Alt-Shift-D. Parent this light to the fan so that when I select the fan, right, and then I'll center the pivot. Okay, for some reason this one doesn't want to center the pivot. Okay, anyway. Press D and then I will push it back to the center here. Alright, so that's how you do the fan. Alright, so likewise for the 5-bladed fan, okay, I will show you another picture. For the 5-bladed fan, which I think I downloaded the picture just now. Okay, the 5-bladed fan is a bit more ornate. Okay, so for this, right, we need to duplicate or create a cylinder that is divisible by 5. Alright, so let's create a 30-sided cylinder. Or maybe 20, because 20 can be divided by 5. So shift right mouse click, create a cylinder. And make sure it's 20 divisions. Because it's going to be 5 blades. So 20 divided by 5, again, we just need to pull 4 pieces out from this. Okay, so for this one, I'm not going to model too much on the lights. Okay, for some reason this thing is accidentally moved up here. Okay. Alright, so how do I create a 5-bladed fan? So I'll just start from this block like that. Scale it down a bit. Freeze the transformation. Go and select 4 faces along the Z-axis like that. And then extrude out 1 section, okay, to form the fan blade. Let's take a look at the picture of the fan blade. This one, very simple. It's just like a solid block of wood extended out like that, and then just taper out, very simple, and then twist it at an angle like this. That's all. Then I will try to use the component scale. Control Shift and go to component scale, and then scale this longer a little bit. And if I look at the fan blade, you can see there's a cut, right, in such a way that it is aerodynamic. So I'm going to select these vertices and then use the slide tool, Control Shift and slide this up so I can create this aerodynamic shape like that. Just like what you see in the example like that. So you can see now my fan has this nice aerodynamic shape. Okay, maybe this one I want to push it thinner a little bit. Alright, and maybe wider a little bit more. Okay, I will just use the scale and then pull it wider like that. Alright, so now I created a single fan blade. So I'll select all the faces, all these faces here, and I'll use the duplicate or extract a duplicate from this section. Okay, so right now I should have, if you go to outliner, I should have this duplicate, and then this duplicate, right, should have the center right in the same center as the original object. And if I take a calculator and calculate, 360 divided by 5 is how much? Is equals 72 degrees. So I need to rotate the duplicate 72. So press E to rotate. Then rotate the first copy 72 degrees. Okay, now before I rotate, right, I forgot to remove the, okay, let me zero this out. I forgot to remove the extra faces on the cylinder here. So I will select all these faces. Okay, holding down the shift, double click, shift, double click, shift, double click, and then delete. Right, then select the duplicate. Then rotate along the y-axis 72 degrees. Actually it should be minus 72. Let me undo that. Minus 72, minus 72. And now duplicate again. So go to rotation. Then holding down the shift and then rotate. So I'll have another clone. Okay, I think I rotated too much for this one. Okay, let me reset this to 0. So 72 times 2 is how much? It's 144. Alright, so it's minus 144. Okay. So you see the third blade is now created. Then our minus 144 plus 72, or rather 144 plus 72 will be 216. So now change the next one to 216. I'll just duplicate first, holding down the shift and clone another one. Minus 216. And then finally the last one, I'll just hold down the shift and duplicate another one. So 216 plus 72, 288. So minus 288. Okay, that's it. We have our 5-bladed fan. So go over to select object mode, select all the objects, mesh combine. Go to vertices. Okay, shift right mouse click, merge vertices, merge vertices. Alright. Now I did not subdivide this, so if you subdivide this, the ends right will be messed up. So if I press number 3, it's gonna look like this. Okay, so I should have inserted a couple of edge loops here. Okay, let me just quickly insert a couple of edge loops. And also at the ends of the fan blade as well. No, she just came in. Yeah. Yeah. What's her excuse? Okay, so after inserting the edge loops, right, this is what you get. Alright, the rest I will not repeat, creating the columns and all that. You can refer to the earlier part of this video. Okay, so that's how you create fans.